16,000 volunteers in over 134 countries currently, and 130 chapters and schools and universities in 35 countries. We work mostly with translations, translating climate information into 105 different languages in order to make climate information more accessible to everyone and to engage youth around the world in climate dialogue, climate discussions, and to have the voices that are usually unheard participate in climate dialogues. This is really essential work because over 90% of the global scientific literature, and especially on climate, is in English, which makes it vastly inaccessible to the majority of the world's population. We have 6.6 billion people who are non-English speakers, which is 80% of the population. And really working on that climate literacy through translation and engagement in dialogue, we try to pull in the people into the global discussion that are currently not in it. We also work on coalition building among youth around the world. 80% of our membership is in the global south currently. We work remotely and as a part of a global team, which means that we have climate information dissemination networks. So we send information about climate through our chapters and communities around the globe so that they can adapt their information locally and engage in climate dialogue with people who might not know about it, who have not been engaged in these dialogues. And that raises voices and empowers people to also look on the ground what action is needed where I live. We've seen great successes. We have translated over 3 million words at this point with partners like Yale Communications, but also UNICEF. We partner with corporate partners as well, so we're really trying to bridge a gap between political impact, climate information, advocacy, but also the private sector. We're very involved in using AI for our work as well. So we have a partnership with Google and are using AI technology Google has lent to us to accelerate our translation process. So we're also partnering with Translators Without Borders. So in combination, we have an acceleration through AI translations, but also professional partnerships where our volunteers can work with professional translators to then verify the translations done through AI and really get translations out faster while also really maintaining a professional level of translations and a human factor in it. Like if we think about, culturally sensitive translations or, just getting the sense across. If you want to translate a poem, for example, like AI translation is not going to do a great job at it at this moment. And so we're really trying to couple this with people who are native in all these different languages to really get all this sense and all the meaning across that needs to be there to understand what climate issues are. We have a big diversity of participants and volunteers in our network from all around the planet, with 80% of them being situated in the global south. So we have both a geographic diversity, a cultural diversity, and also linguistic diversity that we mobilize in order to make Climate Cardinals work really impactful. And we're about to launch our Global Ambassadors Program, which has 40,000 pre-signups, meaning that all these people are going to work with social media content and translated climate information to distribute this information in their communities through social media, but also to connect to one another, to have, kind of a virtual global community of climate advocates sharing their issues locally with one another. And being involved in these climate dialogues. We also have a tight relationship with our chapter program. So although we are, we have a management team that is working centrally for operations, communications, partnerships. We're really in touch with our local and regional presidents that are then connected with the chapters. So we're also mobilizing to connect the chapters to one another, let's say in a region like Southeast Asia or also in Europe and our African chapters, to talk to one another, attend events. And we're partnering with our generous supporters to also implement micro-granting programs so that people can take grassroots action through startup motivations, for example, that actually can make a change on the ground and that actually also can stay. Migration is, of course, a really tough topic and an important one because it really speaks to the intersectionality of the experiences due to climate change. So what is important in our communications through Climate Cardinals is to make sure that people understand that climate change doesn't affect everyone equally. People around the planet have different impacts. There is a big, class divide among the experiences of climate change as well. And making sure that we communicate that it's not only, nature changing, but also the livelihoods of people, and showcasing how that impacts youth, how that impacts their education. Yeah, we're really trying to bring into conversation the different SDGs in our materials as well. We're not an organization that works on the ground to mitigate climate emergencies as is. Our chapters have mobilized to support people on the move. However, our main goal is to really get the dialogue going about that there is, migration and climate change, which a lot of people have not, talked about, thought about. Yeah, so it's about stimulating the engagement with what is at stakes. We have been meeting incredible people and incredible projects here. The negotiations are slow. There were a lot of people who haven't participated or couldn't come, political actors, a lot of state leaders that it would have been great for them to hear youth voices as well. But we're still optimistic that youth can make an impact. We've had phenomenal feedback from private actors especially, who are also widely present at this COP. And so we're excited for this year ahead.